Hey guys, so first quick recap from yesterday. I had this meeting with a builder and I came up with an idea. The idea is in the domain of computer vision in construction, and we have to read some blueprints of those designs and solve a problem. So as a first step, I decided to run this idea through a set of my advisors that I have accumulated over the years. These people have been in the domain of startups, they are in the game, and of course I need to tell the idea completely. There's no stealth mode when you're seeking advice, you know. So next I'm going to share the advice that I received on the idea. So the advisor number one is actually a computer vision expert, and he has worked in the construction industry, and I met him recently through LinkedIn, and this was his feedback. So it seems like this is a good problem, and but it is non-trivial. One of the big companies has actually a team that is working on this problem, and they have only achieved 70% or 80% accuracy on some very specific use cases, which doesn't even cover all the use cases. And he also told me some of the reasons why this problem is non-trivial, because these designs, when you have these designs, they're just lines. They don't have any texture, they don't have any colors. So usually the image or object detection in images, they depend on these colors and textures to detect them. So it's not a trivial problem, first of all. But but there's a takeaway also, that since this big company is working on this problem and it is unsolved, that means that if someone can solve this, then this company can acquire this solution for maybe millions of dollars. So of course there's also an opportunity there. Advisor number two is actually an older friend of mine, and I've seen his journey from being a developer to becoming CTO of a unicorn in India, and then moving to Singapore and starting his own business. So yeah, he gave me the advice that just one person from the construction industry talking about this problem is not enough. There, I need to get validation from more people from that industry to really be sure that this problem exists in other people's mind too from this industry, and it's not just this one person from the industry who is talking about it. And he also advised me to put a number on the size of the problem. How much will these people want to pay for this problem to be solved? And if this number is small, then can this solution be used as an entry point to make a bigger software that can command more price? Because investors are only interested, investors, by investors I mean the venture capital investors, are only interested in investing in the countries, in the companies that have a big unicorn kind of potential. So we need to make the size of market big. And he also told that construction seems to be a good domain for startup, because it's a very ignored domain, because an average Silicon Valley founder or engineer doesn't have any idea about these kind of domains. So these are the ignored domains, and if you can really find a problem to solve here, it can be a good opportunity. My third advisor is the most well connected guy in the Indian startup ecosystem. He has been my mentor since many years. Since at that time I was trying to raise fund for another startup, and he has also sold his startup in India, built and sold his startup in India, and made many millions of dollars. And he's up to date. He is also an angel investor, so he keeps listening to a lot of pitches, and over time he has like very good understand. He has built a very good understanding of like comparing these ideas, like what's good, what's bad, what can work, what cannot work. So from him, I wanted to understand like how do VCs really evaluate these uncertainties about solution. So this solution that we need to build can be actually very simple. It may just take few months of understanding the problem and it will just click, or it can take many years and it will not work out. And this happens in the machine learning domain. So how do really investors evaluate this? So, and I gave him as an example that like how do they invest in the new drugs, because there's no certainty that it will happen, that the solution will come out. And he immediately told me that those drug companies, all these pharma and VC do not invest really in these uncertain domains, uncertain problems. And these fundings are usually balance sheet fundings, means these companies, they reinvest their profits, they make their own investments instead of the venture capital fundings. And that's an interesting take, and I think it's very important to understand that. And as the discussion continued, he made some more points. According to him, he thinks that we do not really need to have a big problem or complex problem to solve to really get a startup. It can be like an existing space where you come up with a delta advantage, and that delta advantage gives you a competitive advantage over others, your competitors, and the companies can be built on that delta advantage. And he gave me many stories and many examples of that. And another thing he told me that a good solution actually involves so much detail about the industry, about the people who will be using the software, that for an outsider it can be difficult to actually really solve it. You may think you have solved it, but you may miss out some many important details. So he thinks that it's very risky to get into a new domain like that. And actually, apart from the risk, it's not even required. So yeah, I'm really blessed that I have these people to advise me. And you may be thinking like how, when you are starting out, how you can have them. So I think a lot of it depends upon not having ego and being open to listening to people. Some of these, so I'm an older guy, and some of them may be much younger than me, and I have to be open to learn from what they know. I think one of those, that can be one of the key things. And of course, some of it is also luck that I have been here since, not here in the Canada, but I have been in life for a longer time because I'm old. So I have had the opportunity to build some networks, some connections. They are in India, so they do not have influence here in Canada, but at least I can take advice from them, learn from their learnings, and try to adapt their learnings in this country.